Thank you.
I can't believe doing this again. I haven't even seen the last one. It's probably better.
Honestly.
No.
I was thinking about it. I was like, maybe I just wasn't even ready back then.
Yeah. When did we do it?
I was trying to think. I was like...
A long time ago.
June, July.
Isn't that long ago?
Because it was back when Chris was pretending to be my boyfriend for like 3 days. Remember that?
Like, pretending, like for real pretending.
Remember when he said that he wanted to be my boyfriend? And we went for coffee and stuff?
Do you know how many boyfriends you've had? Seriously.
That's fair. But it was like, this was the one that I had a lot of history with. Yeah. That I was like in love with around Christmas time.
Christmas.
And then he showed back up.
Yeah.
Saying he wanted more than that.
Are we recording?
Yeah.
Like when we started this. I was trying to remember when we last did it. So was that back in June? So if we do a podcast episode every 4 months.
No, we will have no. I mean, a lot has happened since then.
Grandma might stay with us. Might have one viewer.
Grandma would be
every 4 months.
Lindsay. I feel like she has time on her hands.
I think she would.
She would listen. She has a podcast. I don't listen to that.
Oh, I do. It's cute. It is for little children.
Yeah, exactly. You're supporting her because you're a mommy.
And it is cute.
Okay.
So what's on the docket for today?
Well, do we just like start over now?
Well, that could be our intro. Figuring out when we did it last. We are committed now to doing this more professionally.
Once a week.
Once a week.
That's how it's done in the real world.
We can do it.
I know we can.
If you have any fake boyfriends, and we'll work around.
I'm sure I'll have one by next week.
And my boyfriend's really busy, so.
Yeah, we'll have plenty of time. I think that my dating history will be, or dating life will be a recurring theme because it never fails to be entertaining.
Yeah. I don't know if you want to tell that story. Well,
of course I do.
of course you do.
Why would I not want to just share all my embarrassing stories?
I've shared it a few times this week.
Well, you justified it because you said, well, it's my story too.
It is. I had to go rescue the puppies.
Yeah. Should we start with that? Okay, let's go into it. Well, last time we started explaining like why it was the main event. Should we do that still really quick?
Yeah. Should we do that at the beginning of every podcast so they understand?
Maybe. Yeah. Just a brief like
we should get
welcome to the main event.
Yeah. Like say your name was my name or the event.
Welcome to the main event.
I'm the mom.
I'm the daughter. The main event was my dad's band.
And he passed away 6 years ago. And part of our podcast is discussing how we've been surviving that change in our life. Mm-hmm. And trying to thrive too. We do better some days than others.
They say, you don't move on from grief, you move forward with grief.
Yeah. Which
is something that I learned. Well, I'm still learning that, but I think it's not talked about that much because, well, I don't feel like it's talked about that much,
I think people are a little awkward with it, and they want to put a platitude over it because.
A platitude?
Yeah, is that the right word? They want to say the right thing, which is good, and then move on from a conversation because it's awkward.
It's uncomfortable.
Yeah, because I know I was pretty honest when people would ask me, "How you doing?" I'm like, "That's really
not well.
Awful. I'm not doing
I
well
hate
at
it.
all." Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you be honest with people too. Yeah.
Right. And then at that point, they're like, well, now I don't know what to say.
Right. We're an honest family here.
Yeah.
But I think it's okay about grief because so many people get shocked when they go through it. They expect themselves to feel better way sooner than they do. Mm-hmm. And you also expect that you just start out really bad and then just gradually gets better and better. And it's not like that. And that's how people will think. They're like, okay, well, it's been 3 months now, so they're better now. It's like, actually,
it's not this linear process.
It's not linear at all, and they can be way worse. So I actually just had a friend, I don't know if I told you, I don't know if I'll say names on here, but a friend that we used to hang out with when we were newly married. and his wife just died of COVID. Yeah, 2 weeks ago. So I did message him, and I reached out to people like that. It's been a few weeks, and I know he's probably really in shock. And I was reading his Facebook page. It just gives you an example. People say nice things for a beautiful funeral, and a comfort that they know they'll be together again, and all those things are comforting.
Right.
But I'm like, oh man, this
For a
man
brief
is a
second.
shock. Yeah. So I messaged him, and honest to me is like, I don't even know how to do this. I do not know how to live without her.
Well, yeah, fair.
And so that's not something people are posting on Facebook because, you know, when you have friends and family comforting you and saying these nice things and how much, it's awkward to tell them back, you know what, that doesn't mean nothing right now.
Yeah.
I just don't even want to exist at the moment. Which is how you feel for a while.
And I think that's where people get caught up because they want to make you feel better. And it's like, that's not really the point of getting support from people. It's literally just them being there for you. And so I think people need to understand that, like, there is no pressure to say the right thing because there isn't anything right to say. It's literally just, I'm here, like, whatever you need. And just not feeling judged and feeling like you can just be vulnerable with how you're really feeling. I mean, you can't do that with everybody.
Right. There's some people that you know you're not going to make uncomfortable. It's getting close enough, to be honest. And this isn't anything criticizing, and that's something I think we both want to make very clear. I appreciate everyone who spoke to me because I knew it would be hard for them.
Oh, yeah.
And being on the other side, I have no problem now speaking to people that are going through grief because I know being ignored is the worst.
Oh, for sure.
I appreciate everybody who made an effort. I never felt mad like, oh, that was a dumb thing to say. Why did they say that to me?
Yeah, I know.
No, I know that they were trying and that they showed caring. And
yeah.
So that's one thing. If you haven't been through it yourself, just know that making the effort is really important. Send a card, drop a meal, anything, any kind of effort at all. If you're just clueless about what to say and it makes you really self-conscious, just write a simple note or drop something off and keep doing it.
Yeah.
Because a week or 2 or 3, that's just such the beginning.
Yeah.
6 months later, a year later, you know, even 2 years later on the day that they died, it is an ongoing challenge to live without your loved one. And I love when people remember.
It's really sweet when people reach out, like, on, like, his birthday or the anniversary of his death. Just, if people, like, actually remember those dates and reach out to you, that really means a lot. Because to them, it's like, obviously they're not going to be thinking about it the way we are after a few months, few years. Like, for us, it's, like, something very real we live with every day. So...
And it's 6 years out, and I still have friends that occasionally be like, I was just thinking about him today and thinking about you. And I love that.
It is nice. I don't feel like I really have that with anyone anymore. Just, like, friend-wise.
Yeah, especially living away from...
Well, yeah, I mean, like...
These would be my friends from Washington. So.
Right. And, like... Yeah, I won't get into all that, but... It's hard now knowing that a lot of the people that are coming into my life now... that are going to be important to me are never going to have known my dad. And that's like a really harsh reality because I like being able to share those memories with people. But it's like now I'm going to have my family, you know, but that's it's mainly it.
It is different. So we're both in Utah now. And that's part of our journey to just, for a change. A change was helpful for me. And, anyway, so we won't redo all the things we did in the first podcast, but so... If it's even going to be put out, I don't know. We can just start over. I don't know. I think it was... It was fine. I just feel like it was so long ago now that it's like... Oh, you don't feel it's connected to it. I don't feel like it's... say 4 months later. Yeah, because I feel like people, when they want to, like... It's a new podcast, they want it to be new. Like, they want to feel like... I see what you're saying. Yeah, it's like old news now. Update 4 months later. Yeah, so I feel like, you know, anyway. Yeah, so we're Utahns now. When we moved to Utah, Lindsay, my middle daughter, was the only one living in Utah. Then I came and Josh came. He came before me, actually. And then I came. Did? And then, yeah, he actually did. He moved out of the house and found a job because I was selling the house and showing it.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so I told him it would be easier to go ahead and find a job.
And then he moved to, don't tell me, American Fork?
Close. Well,
Spanish Fork.
Spanish Fork.
Okay, it was a fork.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He lived somewhere else before that with a friend in their basement. I can't remember what city. And then he went to Spanish Fork. Maybe they live in Spanish Fork too, but...
I forget that he was out here. And then it was 2 months after you moved that I moved. Almost
well,
exactly.
It was only a couple of weeks, no. Well, 2 months, yeah, because I was living with Lindsay for a while.
Yeah, it was like a couple weeks after you bought your house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I called myself with Lindsay. I was their Cinderella in the basement. I slept in the basement, and then I'd come up and help clean the house and take care of kids.
Which I'm sure she loved that.
Yeah. It was good. It was good for me to have those things to do to keep me busy. I was ready for a change.
For sure. And I was too.
Yeah. Maybe you had a different kind of change.
Yeah. Literally decided my marriage was over and packed up my stuff one day and drove here.
Yeah, she called me the night before. I'm coming to Utah. I'm moving in with you. I had a few hours notice.
Yeah, I remember you. I remember being on the phone with you while I was driving, and it was like right after I left. I was like getting on the highway, and I was just like, I should probably call Mom and let her know. I was on the road already.
You were already driving.
Yeah, I was already driving. And I told you I was coming, like, short story of what happened. And you're like, okay, when? And I was like, right now.
Did I have furniture yet when you moved in? I can't remember if I'd bought it yet.
I honestly don't remember. That feels like so long ago now.
Yeah, it does. I know. And it's only been, it has been 4 years.
It's been over 4 years now.
Yeah. And I always say every day, best thing I did was move to Utah. As much as I loved friends, and it's hard to leave family there, Uncle Jeff and Aunt Laura's family in Washington, that change was really good for me. Being in, well, it was the clouds and stuff, but it's also just the familiarity of where I spent my life forever with your dad.
Yeah.
Some people, and everyone's different when it comes to grief, some people need to stay in their same home and do the same things, and that's comforting to them. I did that for 2 years because you're advised to take 1 or 2 years before any major change.
Yeah, not make a big decision.
I never look back. It's been 4 years, and I'm so glad. Even though I have been through a divorce since I moved to Utah, I still don't have any regret coming here.
Yeah, and it's hard to say for sure. I mean, I knew ending my marriage was the right decision, but I just feel like I've had some pretty awful things in my life since I moved here.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, was it a good choice? Like, I don't know.
You can't say the same thing as easy as I have.
No.
Yeah. You've had some hard things to deal with here.
So I still think about moving out of state, but then I would be away from you. And now almost all of our family is here now. So it would be really hard to just like be from 5 minutes away I am now to like a flight.
Airplane, yeah.
Yeah. I come over like every day. So I think that's kind of, if I decide it's right for me, I will do it eventually. But I don't know. I mean, Utah already felt like a second home before moving here just because Lindsay moved here when I was 14. And I'd gone out and visited her so many times already that I had already said years ago if I were to move out of state, it would probably be to Utah. And so I think it just felt natural to do it.
That's where me and your dad met, family started here.
And so there's like these ties here. And so I already kind of felt like a home away from home. But I don't know if maybe like my luck would turn around if I left Utah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not saying it's like all bad.
No, because there's been a lot of good things too.
Yeah.
There's some bad things are really hard.
Yeah. And so it's just like cool,
Yeah.
I'm trying to like do what's best for myself, and then I fall into some pretty bad situations. But I mean, I don't know. Your life plan is whatever you choose to do. Like,
It is.
there wasn't something else I don't know. It's hard to say. I just feel like everything I've experienced has made me who I am now. and that's all fine.
Yeah, I agree with the same thing. It's hard to undo any of the things. Even losing your dad is like, I so miss him and sometimes miss our life so much, of course. And I will always, like, Grandma wanted to talk about the day he died the other day, just remembering who was there. After a while, it was just too painful. And that makes her feel bad. She doesn't ever want to do that. But it was fine at first, but that day, it was just so painful. And then I forgot what train of thought I was going to before I said that.
I was actually talking to Sean about that last week, describing that day, because it's like you have these very traumatic, vivid memories where I was saying, like, I can remember almost the entire day.
Oh, yeah, it's so vivid to me, too. And that's why I could tell Grandma
It's still
who was
hard.
there, almost everybody that day is so hard. The whole thing, I remember. I was saying about not regretting, and that's the thing, too, because of losing your dad and all the things I've been through, I feel like I've learned so much about life and understanding and this new kind of peace that's come. Once you've been through like almost, one of the worst things you can go through, there's just almost this peace that comes because you can survive.
Yeah, it's almost this freedom of, well, I can get through anything now. I mean, there's other things, terrible things to go through, but it's like, once you experience something tragic, because before it's like that stuff happens to other people, that's the kind of mindset you have.
Yeah.
And then once you become those people, it's like, oh,
yeah,
like this sucks.
Yeah.
But also I'm getting through it.
right.
But
And it's one of the kind of amazing feelings that's hard to describe to other people too. It's hard to describe how incredibly awful that loss is in the morning is, how incredibly awful it is, and then how amazing it feels to be a survivor. And
not a victim.
And not a victim. Yeah. There's something really big about that.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I was kind of leaning towards. I'm talking about is just learning to really just embrace life. And I think I live more in the moment than I used to. I don't dwell on the past because it kind of hurts to go back there. But we have so many fun, good family memories. So when I am able to, I will remember those, but I don't live in the past. And I don't live in the future anymore either.
That's something I'm working on.
Yeah.
It's really hard for me to not do that. Like, every year that goes by, I'm just like, this isn't where I thought I would be. And so it's hard to just, like, be grateful for what I have in my life now, because it's like, you have this idea in your head always of what your life should look like.
Yeah.
And then when it doesn't turn out that way, it's like, well, what do I do now? And then I think that, like, contributes to a lot of my anxiety, just because it's like, I'm behind in life.
Right, yeah.
When it's like, I'm going at my pace. Everyone has their own path.
Still living in.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would have never imagined that you would have like Gary and Yoshi. Those are her two dogs running around here.
No. Best things to ever happen to me.
And they're very, very much part of the family.
Yeah. They make it all worth it. Coming to Utah, getting these boys. Yeah, make sure about that.
Life is unexpected, and that's the part of the joy of trying to find that. Enjoy that as part of the journey. It's like all the time. It's like I never would have saw myself with headphones on, working from home.
I never would in my life would have imagined that.
Taking phone calls all day, I would have never imagined that. And now I have an opportunity for another job, and that's the thing too. I hopefully get it, and I'll be disappointed if I don't. But I don't feel this big anxiety about the interviews on Tuesday, and I think that's just part of being through things. It's like I don't expect things now, like. This is how things are going to go in life. Like I did before your dad died. This is going to happen, then this and this and this. It's like...
Regardless of the outcome, life is life.
That's
like,
right.
Whatever.
My interviews are Tuesday. Wednesday is coming no matter what. And it'll be Wednesday.
Life is meaningless.
No, it's the opposite. It's like each day has importance.
Yeah.
It does to me. It's just...
I'm glad.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I don't have any importance in my life, but
Yeah. So Wednesday, if I don't get the job, or if I'm still gonna go to the gym that night. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna take my warm bath, and I'm going to talk to
life
the
is gonna
boyfriend.
keep going. The boyfriend. That reminded me
What?
about my story.
Oh, we didn't do Megan's story.
Should we
yet.
go back to that?
Yeah.
Okay, let's circle back.
Okay. So Megan has talked about. I'll just do a little prelude. Some
Oh yes, please take it away.
experiences. This one's negative, but it's at least kind of funny.
It's
We
hilarious.
won't go into some of her other trials with dating that have been very painful, but this one is.
This is one that I will never forget. Okay, I'll just go. We met at. It's called Get Freaky. It's a rave Halloween weekend. It's at the Saltaire. My first ever rave, and I went with a couple of friends, and I was just like, "This is gonna be fun." I hadn't really done anything that fun for like Halloween, obviously, the past couple of years. Like I was just like, lately I've just been trying to go out and do more things and just make more memories. Because I feel like I've just been living the same week on repeat for a while. So anyway, I was just excited to go out, and then I make eye contact with this guy who was my type to a T. I won't...
Oh, I saw the picture.
I was just like, let's just say he's 6'2", long hair. Anyone that knows me knows I love a guy with long hair, muscular, just light eyes. Like, and I hope that he never hears me say a good thing about him.
Right.
But I'm
masculine.
not, okay, you gotta give it to him. He's a beautiful man. And so it was just like this instant connection, and we just spent the whole night together, like dancing and stuff. And then I got home at about 3 in the morning. Mm-hmm. I think it was like closer to 4.
After picking up the doggies from here.
Yeah, I came by because I told you I would not leave them overnight. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, I need to go get my dogs. So I picked them up.
Good too, so.
Yeah, they were content. Yeah, you were asleep. And so I get back home, and I was texting him. And we were just like, oh, I wish I could cuddle you. And I was like, me too. He was like, right now? And I was like, okay. So I give him my address. He shows up at like 4 in the morning. And then we spent the next 2 days together. Didn't even barely leave the house. We were like ordering food and just watching Harry Potter. We watched every Harry Potter. And it was just like this blissful, like, oh my gosh, like this connection that we had was just so great. And I was just like, finally, like, I was sick of meeting people off dating apps because I don't want anyone to have some preconceived idea of me, or 2, you don't even know if you're going to like them in person. So it's like, the fact that I met him in person, we liked each other, it was just like, this is how I was meant to meet someone. So it just kind of felt like everything was falling into place. And then, obviously, we were moving fast, talking about like moving to Texas together.
That's right.
But I'm like a hopeless romantic, and so I was like, yay, I found my person, I'll go with you to Texas. And then his communication had kind of gone in and out, like after we had spent those days together, and then like we had to go back to real life of like working and whatnot, and then not spending every minute together. But we still saw each other. This is in the span of a week that I'm talking about.
Yeah, it was just 1 week.
So his grandma died unexpectedly, and so of course he was spending more time with his family. Like,
and we do believe him. At first, when she first told me that his grandma was ill, I thought he was making up a story, but we're pretty sure that was true.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, I didn't really doubt anything that he was saying to me, because I was just like, what kind of psychopath would lie about that?
Yeah.
Anyway.
I kind of don't know if it's true or not now.
And so then I was
That's his excuse for he was going to show up for.
This was like on a Wednesday.
Yeah, and he was going to show up that night, and then remember he was at the gym.
Yeah.
And he was going to go do this, and he was going to see he was putting you off all day. That's why I didn't believe him.
Right.
He's like, I got to work early. He didn't have to tell you that. So
no.
That's why it seemed legit.
And then it was all of a sudden, ooh, I just got bad news.
Yeah, and then I gotta go to the gym, and then there was 2 put-offs.
There was. So Tuesday night was when that happened, and like didn't see him.
Yeah.
And then he went to like see his grandma, who hadn't passed it. She was really sick. And then Wednesday night he came over, and that's when we like went to my hot tub and pool and stuff. And I was just like, spending time together. And then the next day, he was out with his brother. And just like more family stuff. And he called me when he was like really drunk, and he was like, Friday I want to take you on a nice date to dinner, and Saturday we're gonna go to the hot springs. And I was just like so excited that he was wanting to make all this effort and spend time with me. Making plans.
Yeah.
And then Friday comes and it was like, sorry, I can't make it. Saturday comes, ends up going out of town with his family. So it's just like, okay. And then Sunday night he comes home, and this is when he was like, okay, I'm gonna see you when I get home tonight. And I was like, okay. And he texted me at 8:30. He was like, I'm on my way to you. And I was like, yay. Never showed up.
Yeah.
And that's when I get a message from him the next morning. He's like, sorry, I passed out. I was like, come on. Like,
there could have. It was over then.
At that point, I was kind of like, okay, if this is how it's going to be, then this is kind of dumb. And so I just kind of expressed how I was upset with him on Monday. And then he came over Tuesday. And that's when we kind of like hashed things out. And he was just like, I'm really sorry, I'll get better at communicating. I know that wasn't fair to you. And I wanted to give him like, obviously benefit of the doubt. Like, he just lost someone in his family. I was like, maybe I'm being too sensitive.
But I encourage you also. It's like, well, you have nice connections. Like, you could have blown him off, but it's like, well, let's just see if he is trustworthy. And
yeah. And so I was just, so when we talked about it Tuesday, I was like feeling better about it. I was like, okay. And then the next day I asked him that night because you had gotten sick. And so I was like, hey, if you're up to it, I'm going to be in California the next 2 days. If you could stay here and watch the dogs for me so my mom doesn't have to, like, that would be really nice. You don't have to, though. And he was like, of course, like, I will do that. And I was like, great. Like, that was so exciting. And then Wednesday, I fly out to California. My friend and I went for a concert, and I was just, like, checking in with him throughout the day, just seeing how the dogs were and stuff. And then he went out that night with his brother again. And I was just kind of like, kind of frustrated because it's like, I'm asking you to dog sit. Like, I don't want you to be out that late. I don't want them to be home alone that long. So I called him after the concert, and it was like probably almost midnight here. And he was still out.
Oh, he was still out.
He was still out. And I was like, can you please, like, get back to the dogs soon? Like, you've been away from them for a little bit. And he was like, yeah, I'm going to go home. And I was like, okay, just send me a picture of them when you get home. Like, I just want that reassurance. And he was like, okay, I'll do that. And so then we get back to the hotel, and I fell asleep pretty fast. Like, it was a long day, and I was really tired. And then, so Thursday I get up to go to the bathroom. And I'm just like, I didn't get a message from him. And I was just like, oh.
He never sent a picture?
No, he never sent the picture. And so then I was like, okay, I just want to see what time he actually got in. So I'm sitting on the toilet. I have a pet camera on my wall where I can just see, like, the main living area. And so I'm like, I'm just going to scroll, see what time he got on the door. And I see he brought a girl home. And by home, I mean my apartment.
So this is the night before. You were able to scroll back and saw the night before.
Yeah, it was just the night, like, hours.
Yeah.
And I'm just, like, so confused because for a second I was like, is this an old video of us? Because she had long dark hair like me, and so I was so confused at what I was seeing at first.
Yeah.
But then I could see her face and stuff. It was like, that's not me. This is last night.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I just kept looking at the videos. I'm just like, they're cuddling on my couch. And I see, and
he's
so
McDonald's, because there was McDonald's stuff everywhere when I got there.
yeah, he didn't have any respect for me whatsoever. And so at first I'm like, maybe it's just a friend that needed a place to crash. And I was like, very quickly learned that was not the case. You don't make out with your friends on my couch. And mind you,
Cuddling, and you saw them making out.
I saw them cuddling and kissing on my couch. Mind you, hours before that happened, he was on the phone with me telling me how much he missed me and couldn't wait to see me. When he was probably with her.
Yeah.
Okay. And he's just like, oh, nothing. Like, oh, what are you doing?
I had to tell him, and he tried to justify it. It was so ridiculous.
So I immediately call him, and it's probably like 7 a.m. here. He was like, hello? And I was like, get out. And he was like, what? And I was like, you brought a girl to my apartment. And he was like, how do you know that? And I was like, there's a camera, you moron.
Did you say it like that?
Yeah. Oh, I was saying much meaner things, but I'm filtering myself for you.
Hi, Christian.
You're welcome. It was much more colorful. But anyway, so he was like, we didn't do anything.
He didn't do anything. That's
I'm like, the fact that you even brought someone to my home is enough disrespect.
just a platonic date.
Just a nice little spoon. And I was like, I saw you kiss her. And he was like, oh, I forgot about that. You forgot about that 3 hours ago?
Can I start over this line, please?
Oh, he's like, I didn't have time to come up with a story. And I was just like, he was just so caught in a lie. And I was just like, get out. Get out. Get out. And he was like, okay. And so then right after that is when I called you, because I wanted her to come get my doggies, because I'm feeling guilty. Like, my dogs were just traumatized with this strange man they weren't comfortable with yet.
They didn't know if he'd taken him out or anything.
I didn't know how long they'd been alone, and he brings this random girl home, and they already aren't good with strange people. And so I'm just like feeling bad that I even trusted him with my dogs. And so then I call you to come get them. And then so like 10 minutes went by, and I checked the camera live, and they're still there. And so I call him again. I'm like, seriously, leave. Like, my mom's coming to get my dogs. He's like, okay, I'm leaving. And I'm just like, I really want to know what he said to the girl when they had to get out like that.
I know.
Because I'm like, I asked him, I was like, whose place did you say that was?
Did you ask him?
Yeah, and he was like, yours. And I was like,
yours.
who's me in this situation? Your sister?
That's what I'm thinking. He must have said, this is my sister's place.
It's obviously a girl's place. The dogs don't like you. Like, it's very obvious it's not his home.
He had to say my sister's place. I mean, would he
I'm
really
assuming
have said this is one of my girlfriends and she's okay, cool?
She's like, oh, cool. I don't know. And I'm like calling, screaming at him to get out. I'm like, you are so pathetic.
Yeah, and he had to have said something about why.
He had to have. That's what I'm dying to know. I was like, what he had to tell her to get, because they were both like
groggy.
Yeah, and I was just like, get out, I don't care.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I just really wonder how that conversation went.
She's trying to figure out, why do we have to leave now?
Yeah, she's
why
like,
is your sister?
and because before I had seen what happened and called him and everything, he had sent me a text that because he was supposed to go to work at like 6 a.m.
6 a.m.?
Yes. And he was like, I'm
You
really...
get home till like...
I know. And he was like, I'm really hungover. I called out. I'm just going to stay home with the dogs all day. With that girl probably was his plan.
Of course.
So he's literally reenacting the weekend that like we had together with another girl in my house. This is like what he does.
Yeah. That's why I didn't know if I believed the grandma stuff. I mean, that's such a horrible liar, a bald-faced lie, just...
The audacity.
Audacity, yes.
I was
You gotta
just...
stop going for guys who look like Greek gods because they know it.
I know!
And they can get...
That's the issue, is why can't a guy that's hot just for once not know that he's hot?
Not be a total jerk about it.
Because I don't understand how guys, they can't be attractive almost ever without being a complete douchebag about it. What is that? So many beautiful girls are insecure, and yet a guy that's attractive is like...
Well, there's this...
Wow.
I don't remember how the meme went exactly, but it was just about the confidence of men. Older men with big tummies and hairy chests, they'll swing off their shirts, walk down Main Street, and still feel sexy.
Oh my gosh, you should have seen this guy in California.
That men and women are so different from each other. They do. They just...
I like to sum it up to the audacity. Just this brash,
it's
brazen...
married to them, but...
Yeah. I mean, Dad didn't care.
No, he was totally confident with himself.
But he also treated you like a queen. Would you agree?
He did.
Yeah. So I'm just like, I'm attracted to F-boys.
You're attracted to really cocky guys.
I know. And it's an issue because, like, I want to give these nice guys a chance, but when they seem a little spineless to me, I get the ick.
And yeah.
I'm...
You've got that bad boy thing. It is a real thing. They're masculine and exciting and handsome and that.
Why can't you be all that but also be nice?
I don't have the answer.
I can't change my attraction.
I do believe there's good ones out there.
Not in Utah, I would say.
You found them all.
I found all the bad ones, actually. Maybe I have gone through enough of the frogs that...
You can find a really cute nerdy boy that hasn't come out yet.
As gay?
So he doesn't know he's...
Find someone closeted? Like, what? Okay.
He hasn't come into his own yet. What's that movie? The Princess Girl. That was so long ago.
The Princess Diaries?
Is that what it was called?
Too old for me. I love those movies. When she had that makeover?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she was so nerdy.
Anne Hathaway?
Anne Hathaway, yeah.
Yes.
I
Yes.
haven't seen them forever.
I love those
but
movies.
But you gotta find a guy in that stage. And then you bring him out.
Yeah, but no, because
but
then...
it's just for you, though.
No, because once they get all that confidence, they're gonna, like, be like, I can get anyone I want now. Like, I have to have a guy that is established in his attractiveness, that he's, like, had years of being able to get whoever he wants. He's like, ugh, I'm over it.
I just want the right.
I need someone retired from that lifestyle.
There you go. So you are looking for a man probably in his 30s that probably has been married before.
Which is almost me. Well, I mean, been married before, but almost in my 30s.
Yeah, maybe also had a young marriage, or maybe he's never been married and he was just a player and he doesn't want to play anymore.
They always want to play.
But I'm thinking a guy who is a marriage type. So he wanted to get married, but...
Well, that's why I've been, like, trying to date older. Like Jason. Mm-hmm. He was 40.
And he would have probably...
And, he would have... We were...
Yeah. You were talking marriage.
Yeah, he literally. Yeah. But he just saw me as, like, more of a trophy.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, you would have married me, but you would have treated me like a doll.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. No, life just isn't what I thought it would be.
And that's the thing about women. Like, we want to be desired because that's very important to us, part of feeling love. But we also want to be respected and be able to be ourselves and truly loved.
Yeah.
So we need both. And
yeah.
And you're finding guys who, well, that was my second marriage too.
Well, that was your first time learning that whole.
Yeah.
That was a new experience for you.
That's another one of those experiences that I'm a little embarrassed about it, but otherwise I don't think I'd take it away. I did a lot of fun things with them.
Yeah, I mean, like we say, it's not all bad, everything that we've experienced. Like, there's always some good to come out of situations. But,
I actually ran a little mini car dealership for a year.
I never saw it.
Yeah. Whoever saw that coming.
Not me.
I went to the auction and bought cars, and it was actually really fun, and not in a million years. I think I would have saw myself doing the job I have now before I would have saw myself owning a little mini car dealership.
That was very interesting. Did you make any money?
It was fun. No, that's
Yeah.
why I quit it. I'm a very low risk taker. We would have had to borrow more money and had to learn a whole bunch more about the financial side and actually financed cars. We were doing all cash. And you can't make money that way because you can't compete against, anyway.
Like bigger dealerships.
Yeah, you compete against dealerships who are buying a car for as much as we could sell it for cash because they're making all the money on the financing.
Right, they don't make money from the original sale.
No, they could not sell that car for cash and make any money.
Yeah.
They literally couldn't.
That's why they hate people that buy all cash.
Yeah. And we were going for all cash deals, and so we just could not get enough cars.
You were essentially just a middleman.
Yeah, and one reason I got into it is because we had gotten some really good deals with some cars that, David was a good mechanic and he fixed them up, turned around, and we made some good money on a few cars. Problem is those were really
few and
hit
far
miss.
between. Yeah,
we needed to get like 10 of those a month, and then we would have been fine. But
that doesn't happen.
yeah, it doesn't happen. So
hey, at least you tried it.
I did.
Some people are too scared to try anything. Like me.
You try things.
I don't know.
It's just how I got the job I have now. I was very nervous about going into the job profession after not working for ever since I had kids. And Brandon's 33. And
Your last job was Burger King?
No, Burger King was my first job.
Oh, okay.
When I worked at jobs at BYU campus. So my last job, I don't know what my last job was. I did off-campus housing. I did a couple secretarial.
You did like
stuff
clerical
I did
work?
clerical secretarial stuff. I did do one sewing job too.
I remember that. You were in a sweatshop.
Yeah. So the most I ever made was $5 an hour. And so I've had lots of jobs since Dad died. I did the substitute teaching right away, and then I didn't work for a little while, and then I did the car dealership, and then I did, and then I went and worked where my ex-husband works, because he helped me get an interview there, and then I became a funder for a, what do you call it?
Subprime lending company.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Very good. I was have to think how to say that. That was actually a fun job. It was hard. I did that for a year, and then I got fired from COVID. And then I didn't know what to do next, but Megan helped me get in at the bank we work at.
Which I always feel kind of guilty for.
She felt bad right even suggested at the beginning because she did not want her mom to be a customer service agent and get yelled at. Megan takes very good care of her mom.
Yeah.
But I can't tell you, it's another one of those things. I feel like I've learned so much about interacting with people.
It's true, but at
Being
the
patient and learning that it's not to take it personally, that this person has an issue and they just want help.
Yeah.
And sometimes, most of the time they're mad and swearing. It's not directed at me. But when it is, even then it's like...
But it's like, they don't know you.
Yeah, they don't know me.
Yeah.
So when I first started, it was kind of hard. You have to get a little bit of a thick skin and understand that and get into the right mindset. So I feel like it could help me in other relationships communicate directly. Because you really learn to sympathize and also to help them focus. Okay, so let's get back. This is the problem. These are the solutions we have. And even if you can't fix it for them, at least you can. And so I think it's been a lot of good communication skills to learn.
I mean, it's blown me away that you have done this for so long.
I been there let's see, July, August, September, October, November. I've been there 16 months and
on the phones,
and I'm one of the most experienced agents at the company.
Insane.
People have moved on because I didn't want to be a coach or a team lead. I could easily be a coach by now, but I didn't want to keep going in
advancing in that route.
I didn't want to advance there, but yeah, so I'm more experienced an agent than a lot of the coaches. At 16 months, that's how much turnover there is in customer service agent because it is
not, yeah. Because I was on the phone for 3 months before I became a coach, and that was I'm amazed I even made it 3 months. It was so hard. Because I'd never had a call center job before. I didn't even know that's what it was when I got hired. They were kind of vague about it. But yeah, I don't know. I was just like,
It was brand new company.
they talk it up like it was, well, because it's so new.
Yeah.
And it's like a tech startup. We got snacks, and I was just like, yay! And then I was
I
like,
get the snacks. I was hired at home.
that's true. I do miss the days of being in
You had
office.
fun in office.
I had a lot of fun, and like, I kind of miss those days of just goofing off, and I've made like a lot of good friends at the company. But work from home is so different. But
But you know they changed it. We're not customer service agents anymore.
what are you now?
Digital bank representative. I'm like,
Shut up!
I'm not calling myself that. There was some initial DBR. I'm like, DBR, what the heck? I'm like, we don't want to have to save our customer service agents, so now we're a digital.
It is what it is. Just call it what it is.
I'm like the person that answers the phone, people.
Yeah,
It's the same thing.
don't church it up.
No, it is what it is.
Wow, that's what they came up
We
with.
are experts. They should use expert in the word.
You really do become an expert of the company, though.
Oh, you do learn a lot, and so that's it's the job that pays the less and everything in the company. But you got to learn.
You
something
know more
about
than
everything.
Yeah, it's crazy the knowledge you acquire in that position. That like you know more about the company than team leaders do.
Oh yeah.
So it's like I swear, people in the lowest position are the hardest workers with the less pay.
Working 9 to 5. You know the song?
Is that Dolly Parton?
Yeah, and it's all about that.
It's
Let
true.
Make it and let they just use your brain, and they get the credit, all the credit for it, using your brain, and they get the way more money. That's kind of how it is.
That's just the business model.
But we got to give credit for the companies that they always do try to
Promote
try
within.
to promote
Yeah.
within and grow your career. I just haven't been really tried really hard to move on to something else. I've done just a couple of other.
But now you
jobs.
just might be.
Now I just might be. Now I'm really interested in a position, and so we'll see.
Yeah. So, I mean, I see it more as just kind of like paying your dues. I would never say, hey, this is a job that you should this is your career. Like, it's just a stepping stone.
Well, if I get this, it will be partly because I've been doing this job so long.
Exactly.
And it'll be because I know the old system,
Yeah.
too. That's really important that I have that knowledge, because there's hardly anyone that knows.
That's so
The
weird.
fact that I know, I can't understand our system.
Yeah, I
here,
don't know.
But the fact that I know that original system is a big deal.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, probably anyone competing against me for this job.
I've
doesn't
never even
know
seen
it.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is pretty wild.
And I also couldn't apply for this job without my degree. So I'm like,
Seriously?
Yeah.
It came in handy!
I know.
Oh, that's bad. Yay, college
So
graduate!
that's why if I retire in this job, that makes me feel good that I'm actually using my.
I had no idea.
You have to have a degree to apply for this job.
Good job, Mom. That's cool. I don't have one of those.
The only thing that I didn't have that they prefer is accounting experience. And
But I mean, Prestige, you've dealt with finances. You could figure that out.
and I think they're fine training on that. It's technically a reconciliation position.
Yeah,
but that's
you'll be great at it.
accounting.
That's cool.
Yeah, see what happens. So on our next podcast, we might have an update on that. I don't know how long it'll take to give us
Well,
a
we
decision.
should. Well, you'll at least have had the next round of interviews.
Right. So I'll know. Yeah, I'll at least have a feeling of how I did on that.
Yeah. And if you don't feel good about it, it doesn't matter, because you didn't feel good about the first one, and they were like, we want you again.
Well, strangely, I did right afterwards. Because I really.
Then stick with that immediate feeling.
I did right afterwards, even though I did, just to clarify, my last big interview, I took a customer with.
Camera's right here.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at I knew that. I'm used to work and the camera's on here, so.
It's like a Zoom meeting for you.
Okay, I can get away that I did that. Anyway, I took a customer with me to the interview. I can't believe that happened, but.
I'm so confused by that.
So my interview started at noon with the head lady over the department that I'm applying for, And I took a call at 20 minutes to 12. That's plenty of time to get through a customer. But this was a really difficult customer, and I'm going to use nice words here and be professional. But I wasn't convincing them of anything, and they were not getting off the phone. And so at noon,
You should have just transferred to a soup. Be like, I have an interview.
I tried.
Serious?
They wouldn't take the call. So I was messaging with the supervisor because we have two
That blows
different-
my mind.
Yeah, it would take too long to explain the whole thing, but we have two different channels. So I'll just briefly, and I was in the one channel talking with the supervisor, and I'm like, please take this call. Just take this call.
I'm
I
gonna open the door
gotta
real
go to
quick.
an interview. And so she was like, okay, but you have to go to the other channel. I'm like, no, I got the interview now.
Yeah, like you don't have time to figure all that out.
She said I had to go to the other channel. So I go in the interview, and I get there at 2 minutes after 12, and the lady wasn't there yet. And so I'm hurrying and typing up. So to go into the other channel means I have to fill out this whole form. And so, and I have the customer on hold. And then she comes in. Hi, I'm sorry I'm late. I'm like, that's okay.
I'm still on a call.
So then I had to explain to her because my TL was posting me up. Like, do you want to reschedule? No, I don't want to reschedule.
I ain't missing this opportunity.
Rescheduling was not on what I wanted to do, and so I said, okay, I have a customer on the phone. I was, I just find ended up being a difficult call, and so I told her I had to fill out this form. So at 7, so she got in there, I got in the 2 minutes after, so for 5 minutes she had to wait while I filled out this form and got the escalation over. And then we just did, and I explained to her that he was still on hold because I had to wait for the supervisor to give me the green light to transfer him. And so this dude would not hang up. I mean, if he had just hung up, that'd be great. So
Yeah.
I had to check in, so I checked in and told him we were waiting on the supervisor, and then we just had our interview, and she was really sweet and friendly, and I felt like it was going really well. Then I'm kind of watching, I'm like, okay, I need to transfer the customer.
That's so funny.
So then I go to transfer the customer, because I was then sitting in the wrong channel, because I'm like,
There's way too
trying
much
to
going
talk to the
on.
customer. My TL was posting up that I should reschedule, and then I have
Your interview has started
my
already.
interview I'm doing, and I had switched from one channel to the other channel, but I accidentally left myself in the first channel, and so I missed her pop up for several minutes, and she was ready for the call. I'm like, oh shoot, I can transfer it. And we're not done yet though, so I'm like, okay, I'm telling the lady I'm interviewing with, I just need to transfer this customer.
So funny.
And then I look, and the call had hung up. I'm like, really?
They hung up?
Well, I'm like, really? Well, our phone system was having little issues that day.
No
I rarely
way.
do. I have such good internet. When other agents are having systems, I usually don't.
Oh.
But anyway, it had showed it was hung up. And I'm like, oh, he hung up. And then I hear this guy, hello? Hello? I had already messaged that he'd hung up.
I'm so...
She said she'd call him, and so I said, oh, we're having little issues with our phone, and my supervisor is going to give you a call. So at this point, I've been really friendly because I'm in interview mode. I'm interviewing, and so I just got to actually hang up on him because she called him back.
That's hilarious.
And I read the notes later. Mm-hmm. So he waited for a half hour
to get called.
Okay, so this was near the end of the interview. So he waited for 20 minutes. I mean, I did
On
interrupt
hold.
a couple times, letting him know
Jeez, he must have been pissed.
And he wouldn't get off the phone.
He had nothing to do with his
So
day.
the supervisor, she had to disconnect due to non-progression.
Oh, come on!
Oh, that's what I'm telling you.
He was just ready to waste time that day.
Yeah.
And some people really do just live for that.
If I told you what the issue was, too, I'll tell you later. It was just such a non-issue. So, yeah,
Always
that
is.
was my interview.
That's honestly hilarious.
But she was the sweetest lady ever.
Well, it also shows your dedication to your job. No, it's all good.
Okay, I can't believe I talked about work that much. That is
You always
really
talk about
weird,
work that
too.
much.
It's so weird, and I don't even know I do.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I'm disconnected from my work most of the time. But lately,
That's great. You should keep that up.
You know why? Because Megan knows everything about work. I don't think I talk to other people about work hardly at all.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm the only person in your life that really understands what you're talking about.
Yeah, Megan gets it, so I love being able to talk to her about work. So.
And anyone else who works at a call center in general will probably like relate to most of what you're talking about anyway. But yeah, I feel like this just shows how much our life has changed.
Yeah, we're talking about work together.
I never thought you would have a job in your life.
I wasn't planning to.
No.
Which is so funny. When I say that, growing up, and even when your kids were young, I thought, oh, one day I'll kind of have a career. I mean, I got my bachelor's degree. It took me a long time to do it. But I always thought I would do something like that. But the older I got, and the more I was just like, why? Because I didn't need the money. And so I didn't see any real purpose
You didn't
in it.
feel this intrinsic motivation to do it.
I felt like I could develop my talents other ways. I could connect with people other ways. There's other things I could do that had meaning that didn't have to be, a full-time job. So.
And then when it comes to needing the money, it's like, well, that's out the window. Now I have to work.
Especially when you marry someone that's expensive.
You sucks your money and up. Like a leech.
It's a money sucker.
You're a money sucking
What
leech.
is that word?
Yeah, money sucker. Uh-huh. I'm not even that bad.
Well, we didn't almost. That's a good note to end on. We probably better not go down this line of discussion.
Why not? We could fight. I'm solving my issues. It's okay.
Well, we're both customer service agents guild now, so that would be very interesting to have a
Let's have a professional talk.
professional argument.
Yeah, I'm going to talk to your supervisor.
You're going to talk to my supervisor?
Yeah, who's that? Grandma?
Yes.
Okay, I would like to talk to her.
She is my supervisor.
She is, isn't she?
I like that.
Who's my supervisor? You.
Me?
But, like, let's say we're fighting and you want to talk to my supervisor, you just talk to yourself?
Yeah. I actually do talk
You're
to
very
myself
good at
a lot.
that. Yeah.
This is true story. I talk to myself all the time. Like, I have to remember when I'm out in public that it's not acceptable there because I'm used to doing it all the time at home.
I kind of envy that, though.
You don't talk to yourself?
Sometimes, but I feel like I have just more of an internal dialogue going all the time, that it's not always vocalized. But I talk to the dogs all the time.
Right. So that's a kind of a way you do it, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know.
I try to do it internally in my head. It just doesn't work.
Doesn't have the effect. Yeah. I can't tell you how many times you've been talking to yourself, and I'm not sure if you're talking to me or not.
I talk to myself a lot. I really do.
Yes,
and then I'll be in the store, and the mask really helps because.
Oh, because then people don't see your
then I
lips
can
moving.
whisper to
Yeah.
I'm just not good at keeping it.
I can't wait to see you in 30 years.
Oh man, yeah. Brandon's been waiting for that for a long time.
Oh yeah, he already thinks that you're losing your marbles.
Yeah.
But I think that goes back to what we were talking about earlier, how like you grew up with this anxiety about like what to say
Yes.
and like to fill the silence. And so then you just flip that on its head. And now I never have to worry about feeling a silence when you're around. And now you just talk to yourself.
And I told Megan she would not believe how I was as a teenager. I would go on dates and be so nervous and anxious because I wouldn't know what to say. And I'd be sitting there all quiet and just feel all this anxiety in my body because like, what do I talk about? What do I talk about? And so I wouldn't say very much. And it's hard for my kids to imagine that. But. So I've decided it's because I didn't like those dead silences that I have a hard time like not feeling.
It's like compulsive. You don't even really think you're about doing it. You're just doing it.
I have become aware of it, which I think is.
I don't want you to become painfully self-aware. Just live your life.
And my dad has gotten to be such a talker. He's gotten older too. In person, yeah. He will. He'll just talk and talk. And my grandma, his mom, so I think it's sort of in our genetics as we get older on the code side. Not that grandma's not a talker too.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, my mom's always been a talker.
Yeah.
But
I feel like I've always had some sort of battle with social anxiety. But you feel like you don't see that in me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I feel like, how do I even explain it? I don't know. I think I just hate feeling that way so much that I force myself to be social even if I'm not comfortable. But there are definitely times, like, maybe I'm out with friends or something and I'm out with, like, my friends' friends, and then I might get really awkward and quiet in that situation. But for the most part, I feel like I can talk to pretty much anybody.
Yeah, because I've been out with you in a lot of different social settings, and you always seem comfortable interacting with people.
Yeah.
And, like, even just, let's say, with Jay, well, I'm trying not to say boyfriend name.
I'm going to say everyone's names in my life.
Yeah,
I don't care.
boyfriend, like, Megan is just really good at clicking with people, and with my ex, too. You just are, you have a very warm charisma, is that the right?
That's my talent in life.
Yeah, you have, because you have an empathetic, compassionate nature. You do. You connect with people. You see people. They're not just there like you gotta make polite. I don't know how to explain. You're connected.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. And I feel like I always want to see the good in people. And sometimes that gets me in some bad situations. Because maybe I'm seeing good that's not there.
Sometimes.
Yeah,
I know. I've done that too.
But they're going crazy. I love when they do this. That's funny.
But when you meet the right person, that's going to be a blessing. And it's been a blessing in other areas of your life.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the right person are just my dogs. And if I die with my dogs, that's fine.
She really does love her dogs.
Yeah, I do. It's so hard for me to be away from them. I feel like I can't. This is like what's deterred me from having kids is because loving them so much is painful that I can't imagine a child.
It's intense.
I have mom guilt with my dogs going to the gym. I work from home. I'm with them 24/7. And like going on that trip for 2 days was so hard.
And I've never experienced that at all. I mean, I've never experienced loving a pet like that.
A lot of people like love their pets, but aren't. I don't know. I feel like it varies a lot.
Because I've known people like you who got that kind of intense bond, and I didn't really understand it until seeing you go through it. Because I've never known it was someone as close to me as you are.
Yeah.
So now I can get it better. I mean, when the things you describe are a lot of the feelings of being a new parent. The intensity of it. So
it is intense.
I don't think being a parent will be. I mean, it's going to be different, but it won't be as shocking to you because the experience you had with.
It's just going to be even more intense and painful. I cry about how much I love them. Like I can't even imagine.
You can love your babies.
They're my babies. Does that vary with?
It's been over an hour. Should we?
Okay. Go back to their life. You can't pause at any time. You're stuck with us.
So we're hoping that we get to do this regularly. People will pop us up and say what kind of things you want us to talk about. I mean, we're always comfortable talking about our grief journey, and
I'm comfortable talking about literally anything in my life, for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big interest, I think, for a lot of people, too, being single, and I won't say pushing 30, because you're some years away from that, but on the later end of the 20s is about a time when a lot of singles are like, wait, I thought I'd be married and have kids by now.
It's just like this realization that life isn't really how you pictured it was going to go. And there's a lot of people, anyway, I just feel like a lot of people are in my same boat right now and they feel alone, but it's like, no, it's a lot of me's out there.
So we're just sharing honestly and just trying to see if make connections out there. Anybody needs to hear what we have to say and trying to be open. In my life, I'm probably a little bit more protective about people in my life.
I'm not. I'll air out all my dirty laundry.
So. And
I was waiting for you to fill the silence.
I gave it a half a second.
I know, you did good. I'm hugging her now for someone who's not watching. Love you.
Love you.
Goodbye.